Now let's talk about Pakistan. They presented their budget this week. On the eve of the budget, they also released the economic survey. Just like in India, this survey is what the government presents, which is a picture of the year that was for the economy, basically how it performed, inflation data and GDP growth, and it shows the situation of the economy. And as well as we know Pakistan, it painted a rosy picture of its economy. It was carefully worded. It spinned a crisis as a comeback and tried to set the wrong narrative for the world, but the world should not buy it. So here's the real picture. First, what it said in the survey. They said that GDP grew by 2.7%, better than last year's negative growth. Then they said their inflation during the outgoing fiscal stood at 4.6%. They also highlighted a policy rate cut of 11% from 22% last year. They said that their exports were up 7%. Now let's talk about the reality. While the GDP grew, the picture of the country's over 240 million people is grim because they face deep structural distress. The slowing inflation, if true, is a sharp recovery, but the ground reality says something else. There is spiraling food crisis, rupee crumbling, record energy costs, and joblessness everywhere. So the so-called easing inflation could just be a bait for IMF. Now the policy rate cut, an 11% from 22% looks good, but only on the paper because it's still high. A 7% export increase showing freelancers generating $400 million in earnings. Total IT exports hitting $3.1 billion. And this is a modest increase. Pakistan still relies on remittances, which surged to $38 billion. What this means is Pakistanis abroad are sending more money home as families are facing economic ruins. The current account was shown to be in surplus by $1.9 billion. This might calm investors, but it is not a result of a booming economy, but of suppressed imports, currency controls, and deferred payments. Pakistan's debt has increased to Pakistani rupees 76,000 billion in just 9 months of the current fiscal year, which is double in 4 years and fivefold in 10 years. This is 51,500 billion rupees from local banks and 24,500 billion from external ones. Now coming to the not so big budget. Pakistan's total spending is $62 billion, which is just a little over 10% of India's spending, 7% less than last year. Why? Because IMF had asked to cut down spending. So Pakistan did. But look at what happened. They increased their defense spending by 20%. 20% is a huge increase. $9 billion, which is 2.2% of its GDP. Now, the lower spending and a higher defense spending means that you cut on other expenses, which is more like the healthcare, infrastructure, government schemes and policies for the poor. So instead of focusing on the real issue, Pakistan is taking money from the ordinary people and giving it to the military. And this military is not poor. Reports say over 80% of Pakistan's elite, who are basically the military-run enterprises, large landlords and politically connected businesses, evade taxes. And who are these ordinary people who pay taxes? Well, 42% of Pakistanis are living in poverty. 11 million people are suffering from starvation. And all of this military spending for what? For wars that they never won and might never win in the future? But no one will call them out. Instead, they will facilitate them. The field marshal has been reportedly invited by US for the army parade on June 14th. That's just after Pahalgam attack by terrorists sponsored by Pakistan.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now. If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.